Hey, welcome to Odd Musings episode number 312.
312.
Yeah,
Next week we're the Detroit area code. 313.
exactly. 313. There's one of the guys I see at work all the time. He has a 734 tattoo on because he grew up in the Ann Arbor area, so he's representing 734. And I'm going, really? I was 313 back when 313 was like 90% of the state.
Mhm.
So,
Right?
yeah. So it's all these crazy area codes because we have to have all these phones like I have right here, which is just phone going off all the time too. So yeah. Uh, but hey, what's going on, Scott?
Just busy with the real estate. We're in that busy time of year. We just had a new listing pop up. So I'll talk about that a little when we do the promos. Got another house we've been going through, got accepted the offer and inspection period. So it's just been really busy doing that and then trying to catch up on other fun things.
Awesome. Yeah, same old for me. Working, prepping for shows, and then they had a sale on some pork. My brother said he wanted some smoked pork, so I did some smoked pork for him yesterday and some ribs, so he can throw in his freezer and all that. Because Father's Day was this past Sunday. Did you have a good Father's Day?
I did. I had a good time. We got together at Red Robin with my daughter and her girls, and it was good. It was a fun weekend. And Ashley's been having quite the weekend too. Her story, people who don't know, she got tested. It turns out she has a form of Down syndrome called mosaic Down syndrome, which never knew she had, and she's got 2 children with Down syndrome, and that's why they tested her, because it was rare for that. Anyways, her story is really getting out there, and this week she's being covered on CNN Brazil. There's like sites in Sweden, Portugal, Spain, Australia. Some magazine company in Australia just contacted her this morning. They're going to do a spread on her in Australia. She's starting to get calls about. She was invited to California. They were going to pay for her way, but she has a newborn, so she couldn't just get up and leave. But there's some national Mosaic Down Syndrome Society where they have an annual conference, and they invited her down, all expenses paid, and It's just so crazy what's happening. Her TikTok has exploded. She's almost at 100,000 followers on there, so it's been very interesting. So it's been fun to kind of follow that ride.
Oh, very interesting. Very cool.
Yeah. So she's excited.
Nice. Well, I sit here, about the only thing I'm blowing up is the bathroom. So that's good. That's good. I hope everything works out on all that stuff. That's some interesting events on how it got picked up like that. So
yeah.
So very cool. Well, hey, we got some ad reads to get out real quick, and then we can get started on some fun stuff here. I'm going to start us off with the Loringer Family Chiropractic Center, PC, located in Belleville, Michigan, and Dexter, Michigan. And they take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient, offering on-site digital x-rays, orthotics by foot leathers, young living essential oils, full line of vitamins, all in a family-oriented environment. Give a call 734-697-4244. Visit my line at LaringerFamilyChiropractic.com. Of course, here at Facebook, just Google Loringer Family Chiropractic Center PC. You'll find them and have a call button down with that number, 734-697-4244. And they can help take care of you and continue on your journeys of wellness, which we're all pretty much on.
There you go. And then we also have Team Titans of Real Estate. Why? Because you matter. That's right. Even though we utilize the latest in tools and technology to maximize your home buying and selling experience, we never forget, at the core, it's a people business. And this week we have our brand new listing. It just went up today as a coming soon. And it's this wonderful condo in Shelby Township. It's within walking/biking distance from Stony Creek Metro Park, which is a great all sports park that you can run, bike. There's kayaking. There's all kinds of stuff there. There's zip lines. It's a really great place. Would also be a great summer home for those of you who are snowbirds who live part of the year in Florida and you want a great home to have here in Michigan. It's a wonderful location. So priced at only $330. At this price, we expect it to really be filled. here's a couple quick shots of the interior. Very spacious and very well maintained. So you'll want to get in right away. So I'm going to post in the comments here my phone number, 586-232-5144 is our team hotline. And showings begin 4 p.m. this Friday, which is June 23rd. So give us a call. We'll get you into the line so you can have a shot at this.
Fantastic. So
Yeah.
as I'm talking about getting ready for the shows and that, one of the services I use, we use a couple different ones, is I've been using Kablam for years.
Oh yeah.
Just a quick shout out to them. I had just get a few comics. I needed just add my orders. In fact, I got a list for you, Scott. I got to send to you.
Yeah, we'll hook up this week or next week, and I can get them to you.
Yeah, I figure probably try to figure something out next week there, and then
and if Kevin's watching, get your order in.
Yeah, we can have it here at the house. Because as I'm going through see what I need and prepping for San Diego, I had to get a few more of my Boomtown books, which I've always had printed through Kablam. And so I sent that over to them, and got a whole, Barry and Jenny who run it and they have other employees I don't really know, but I know Barry and his wife who own it, and always do a great job. They're always looking to improve. Quality gets better every year, and I've been with them since 2007. This is when I've dealt with them since then, so it's been a long time, and I always take care of stuff. And I just wanted a quick shout out to them. This is an unpaid promo. But I'll hopefully see them because they'll be set up in San Diego because Jenny does artwork and they do publish their own comics and novels. They do on the, as well as being a printer themselves. So.
Yeah, they do great work. And Brett's been a long time user of Kablam, and check it out. And if you want firsthand samples, you can go stop at Brett's booth in San Diego and buy some of his copies. Then you'll know exactly how the Kablam books are.
Yep. And then the other books that we get through our Bardstone, as well as all my prints and that, including metal prints, are done by Ready Comics.
Yes.
And another quick unpaid shout out to these guys there. I got a hold of them for a few things I needed for San Diego as well, for that I get on their end, and got that all ready. It's on get ready to ship out, and I should have that in time for San Diego. I get all my prints, including the metal prints, from them. They just do such great quality, but we've been printing all the Bardstone books through them as well, and excellent quality and everything they do. And they are Diamond certified, so they do a lot of stuff for people that go through Diamond as well.
In a way, this was a paid advertisement. It's just we pay them for all the books we buy.
But we've been dealing with it for a long time, and just excellent companies. And so I just wanted to give a quick shout out to them because it's great to have those resources in the industry that we're in when it comes to comics.
For sure. So. Good job.
Yeah.
So what should we, there's so much to cover here.
Well, let me start with a quick one because I'm just going to gloss over it. I'll go over the Black Mirror real quick. Season 6 dropped of Black Mirror, which is a basically it's a Twilight Zone. That's the best way to put it.
It's like Twilight Zone on steroids in a modern setting.
Yep. And I believe every episode is written by the same guy, Charlie Brooker. He's the main writer. He has assistant writers, but his name's on every single episode, at least for this past season. And that originally it was on Channel 4 in Britain, and then it went to Netflix starting in 2016. They picked it up and started re-airing, and they're doing all new ones on there. They had 6 episodes this season. Now a little tag that popped up, 5 episodes. Sorry, 5 episodes this season, and then it was. I had a thing pop up after the 3rd episode saying, "Hey, only 2 more episodes until next season." So it looks like it's going to come back. I was looking to see if they had like an image or something like that, just to share real quick, give people.
Yeah, if you haven't watched Black Mirror and you decide to start it from the beginning, the first episode of season 1 is very troubling. It's not the one with the British Prime Minister being
with the pig and all that. Yeah.
So you might be watching going, what am I watching?
In some ways, I mean, there's things that happen that don't happen in real life, but there are instances within them that are taken from real life. The first episode, I'm just going to really talk about for season 6. Won't get too deep into it. It's called Joan is Awful. And the premise of the series is she's an average woman, discovers a global streaming platform, Streamberry, who is Netflix. It's just called Streamberry. It's got all the sounds and in special effects on their launching of their streaming network, and finds out that it's an adaptation of her life as it's almost as it's happening, and it's portrayed by Hollywood A-lister Salma Hayek. The interesting thing about the whole thing is you find out that the whole thing is not as real as you think. And that's about as best I'm going to say on that. Because I don't want to give too much away because I want you to go and enjoy the episode.
Yeah, the twists of the Black Mirror episodes are always so good.
Yeah, it's like the second one was good, called Lock Henry. And even if Joan is awful, though, at the beginning of both of those, you're watching these going, okay, there's something going to happen, but it feels just very just normal there. Nothing really exciting. And you're like, okay, this is just like normal people and their lives. What is the hook? And then when the hook happens, there's always even an additional hook after that.
Yeah.
So that's where they get you is he's taken the M. Night Shyamalan What a Twist, and he's added multiple twists. So, but yeah, that's Black Mirror right there. So just a quick little thing.
They also had an amazing Star Trek inspired episode a couple seasons ago, and that one, there were a lot of rumors at the time because it was so well received that might actually develop into a spin-off. I've never heard anything since, though. So
I think they were seriously looking into it, and I'm not sure what happened. I was looking to see if I can find it. Here it is. From season 4, episode 1, it's the USS Callister. And basically, it's the guy loves this TV show, and he creates like this alternate reality. And yeah, they talked about actually expanding it out to an actual series. I think it's one of the things that they were probably looking into and going into, and it was a couple years. I mean, it was came out in 2017, so it got stuck in development, and then COVID hit. It probably just got scrapped.
And right around that time was probably when did Orville come out?
Not long after that, so that might be another reason why.
Right, because Orville
was. Yeah, go ahead.
They might have felt like too much Star Trek-y stuff hitting at the same time. Who knows? But that episode was really good.
Oh, it definitely was one of my favorites. I watched that one a couple times. Mm-hmm. And it stars Jesse Plemons, plays Robert Daly. And he's someone that's been around quite a bit. And then really just it has been since that episode, I've really seen him more and more. His life partner is Kirsten Dunst. They have kids together and all that stuff. And then I pulled up the episode here, and Aaron Paul's in it, who has a starring episode this season, which he was really good in.
Which they were together in Breaking Bad. He was
Aaron Paul was in Breaking Bad, yep.
But so was the other guy,
Jesse Plemons.
Yes,
yeah.
He played a really good bad guy. He kind of was a bad guy, kind of a psycho bad guy.
Yeah, he played Todd in that El Camino Breaking
Bad.
Todd,
that was it. Yep. Yeah, he was great as Todd.
Yeah, and again, since 2017, he's did a ton of stuff. He's done a bunch of stuff before that. He's been bouncing around. He's a character actor for a long time, and seen him in different things. And it's like I kind of look at him going, I kind of recognize him, but you don't really know him. But I think he started coming to his own, and I'm seeing him star in more and more stuff here and there. Like he was in Drungle Cruise, had a pretty good role in that. So he's good. I liked him in that USS Callister. That was just a fantastic episode all the way around. So
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And
then they have some episodes that seem really dark and kind of crazy. And a couple of years go by, and you're like, "Oh, it's coming true."
I think a lot of the stuff is. It's not that we're going to see everything 100% true, but it's definitely trying to predict the future a little bit. Especially that Jonah's Awful episode. It deals with end user agreements.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind: is what are we agreeing to when we say, hey, yeah, I want to watch the streaming service or whatever, or use our phone, and end user license agreements. What does it actually entail?
Yeah.
And how much legalities are we giving these companies to our lives?
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah.
Good stuff. Let's see if I can find, I was being a little nostalgic and watched a couple old things over the week here. One of them is, an animated movie from 1983 called Fire and Ice. It's a classic for, I think a lot of people in our circles, in the, Comic-Con circles and stuff, a lot of us know of it. Mainstream people might have forgotten about it over the years, but it was just a fun watch, watching that again.
Yeah.
Frank Frazetta, who's just an icon
Oh yeah.
In the industry. He was part of this along with Ralph Bakshi. I think I'm saying that right.
Hmm.
I'm trying to find a page here to share. I'll just do this. This is just Wikipedia, but at least give something to put on the screen here.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just a fun movie. It's got the good old fashioned. It kind of was a precursor to He-Man in a lot of ways. Frazetta's artwork and style, and combined with Conan the Barbarian coming out, it was a very big inspirational points for the designs of the He-Man characters. So, and that which came out later in 1983. So,
Hmm.
just had a good time watching it. You know, it's dated. You can definitely tell this is a 80s style. Almost a rough animation. It wasn't even final animation. Brett and I talked off screen. You could tell like they penciled all the artwork, but then like they colored over the pencils, but it wasn't like a nice clean ink line that they did where you have a nice, so from frame to frame you can see the little pencil grit moving like in different so there's a little graininess to the edges of everything.
Yeah, it's a lot of the Bakshi stuff around that time. He did a lot of motion, or basically they would film somebody and then basically draw over it. Is instead of just freehand animating a character. So it's why a lot of stuff has very human looks. They did the same thing for like Wizards. Even Lord of the Rings a little bit had some of that. That he did the animated version of that in the late 70s.
There we
Cool
go.
World was something he did with mixed live action with animation. So
Yeah.
they had real people playing the animation and then they would animate over them.
Yeah,
So
people who might not remember, you might remember some of these characters from your childhood where here's some of the screen grabs from the movies.
mhm.
But it was just fun. And they did, is that called rotoscoping when they use the
Yeah,
live action and they go over it?
yeah, it's rotoscoping, and it's similar technique they used even for the lightsabers. They basically rotoscoped
Yes.
those and went over those to create the lightsaber effects. But yeah,
What's fun about this too is, this is the 80s was the start of the really masculine buff heroes. And Frazetta was big on that in his artwork. And you started seeing that in the 70s through like the artwork in things like Dungeons and Dragons and the way they would draw barbarians. And then in real life it started developing with Arnold Schwarzenegger and all these different things. So Frazetta always grabbed that male energy into his artwork. So it gets captured really well in the artwork in the movie.
yeah, and a lot of it is when you look at this. It even looked like this in the heavy metal animated, but it's basically the
Yeah.
heavy metal magazine. When you look at it, very
Mm-hmm.
similar styles and looks and things like that. They like that look, and that's where a lot of this stuff kind of gets some inspiration from as well. So, but yeah, Fire Ice, it's interesting. I recommend if you've never seen it, check it out. You might like it, you might not. It's one of those things that could go either way, but it's definitely an interesting 80s
Yes.
movie.
Yeah, for sure. So check it out if you want to feel like you went in a time capsule.
Yeah. And I think it's streaming on like Prime and a couple other
Yeah,
places.
it's only
So
like an hour and a half. It's a fast watch.
yeah. So and it's a lot of dialogue and it's got a lot of that kind of static motion where they moved and
Mhm.
very you
Yeah,
can tell they
it
reused
was
some of the stuff. So
either Amazon Prime or Max, HBO Max that I watched it on. I forget which,
yeah.
but that's where they're at.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I mentioned to Scott last night, I actually made it through Avatar, the Way of
Oh,
Water.
that's right.
And
Yeah, so share your thoughts on that.
well, 3 hour and 20-minute movie. I watched it in two halves. So I watched the first half, took a break, came back later because I had stuff to do in between. And so I put it on and watched the end of it. Realistically, I believe that the entire story is only about 45 minutes long. The rest of it felt more like a documentary on the planet. Like, here's this. They explain all the plants in detail. They explain the water in detail. They explain the animals they run into, the new ones in detail a little more. And you see them spending a lot of time becoming part of the water group, which is a different version of the Navi. They have thicker tails. Um, they have a few different things that they've basically developed because they are water people versus jungle people or mountain people. And I think that's what we're going to see with the other films is they're just exploring different areas and creating new aliens on that world that have evolved differently from the ones you see initially. And then the main part is it's just the sky people / humans who are always the bad guys are hunting the guy down uh, that basically put his mind permanently into the Na'vi, the Avatar, and is now living among them. So, and of course, everybody knows his story because when they get to the water people, they all know of his story and things like that. So, I it was a one-time watch for me. I don't ever expect to see it again. I have never rewatched the first Avatar. Just had no desire to. It's too much of elements of all these other movies. It doesn't feel like not that I need a completely original storyline, but it feels like he's trying to like, oh, I thought this was cool. I thought that was cool, and he's incorporating like here's this segment here, and it feels like it's Waterworld. With some
I don't even feel like he thought it was cool. I feel like for me, it feels very lazy. I feel like James Cameron went in with, I have this agenda of promoting the environment. I need a story. And he's like, okay, I need something in this scene. Oh, Waterworld works. So he takes an element and throws it in. And then it's like, okay, I need something here. Oh, Pocahontas works. Throw that in there. I think he just stole from other things and threw it in and didn't even try to massage the story into an original concept.
Yeah.
That's how it feels to me.
I mean, the things that were cool was the look of the planet's always really cool because they spent a lot of time on that. The spaceships coming in to the atmosphere when you see them, I was like, oh, there's a lot of cool stuff. They could have had more stuff off planet too, to create a better story coming in. But it's just, here come the invaders. All they want to do is steal the resources. You got the ones on the planet that are hunting the versions of whales they have because they take something from them.
Yep.
And then once they get what they want, they dump the carcass. It's just like whaling was back 120 years ago.
Yeah. What this movie reminds me of is an unbelievably amateurish movie with a huge budget. And what I mean by that is, Brett and I hear it all the time. When you're at Comic-Cons, people want to pitch their ideas. And usually when people pitch their ideas, they're not pitching stories. They don't have storylines. What they have is a gimmick. Like, hey, there's this really cool looking character I have, and he's going to go fight crime. It's like, okay, but what's the story? Well, he's a really cool character. Yeah, okay, I understand he's cool. He's got cool boots. Yeah, that's nice. What's he doing? And they don't know. And I feel like that's what James Cameron had, is he had a gimmick in his head, but he never developed it past the gimmick, but he had billions of dollars to spend on it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it looks amazing. All the gimmicks are A+. The designs of the ships, the characters, the world, the gimmicks, super shiny and polished. Story, nothing.
Well, that's the thing. And he's got 3 more movies. So I'm sitting there going, okay, you keep telling the same movie over and over of, the natives are the perfect people, and those that are coming and invading. I mean, he's telling, basically like our history ourselves. He's telling, okay, here comes the European settlers, and they're taking over and they're pillaging the land, and they're getting rid of the natives, they're killing them off, and going in that route. And it's like, okay, this story's been told a billion times. Just because you flash it up with some sci-fi look, doesn't make it a better story the way you're telling it. There's just nothing there that makes it worthwhile. But and then the natives there, they easily pick up and start using the technology against the humans. But even the stuff they have, their natural weapons are actually very deadly too. So I'm much of some of this going, okay, I don't know how they're getting wiped out because they're wiping out so many of them in their ships and everything else. It's like, with that kind of technology, they should have better ships. The humans that do stuff, but it's like they're easily able to be taken out by the flying pterodactyl and a bow.
Right.
And that's kind of what I see. And so a lot of stuff is just like, this is no story, like you said. And I think that's the whole problem with I didn't care for the first one. People that tell me they love the first one initially, I'm like, what do you love about it? Oh, it's just so great to look at. That's the thing I hear from this one. Oh, it's so great to look at. Well, great. Take like 5 minutes, put it on a loop, and you can just look at the world. But I don't care to do that.
To me, watching his stuff is a lot like, and I'm sorry, I know there's guys out there, those of you out there who love the Zack Snyder stuff. But for me, Zack Snyder, great cinematography, beautiful shots. Everything looks amazing. It's how he connects the dots. The dots are beautiful. The lines connecting them don't make sense. And the story is sacrificed in exchange for how cinematic it looks.
Right.
And you don't need to sacrifice story for that. It's just, I think they just don't know how to tell the story.
Yeah.
And because they're so focused on the pretty shots. So
Well, and that's the problem. And that also leads into just real quick, because neither one of us saw The Flash. We can't talk about the movie itself, but the box office is the tale. Friday opening, $24 million, and then it had a 35% drop to Saturday, and then basically the same business on Sunday. That's not good numbers. Usually the numbers go up for like Saturday, and then into Sunday they may come down because it's a Sunday. But I mean, 55 million for the weekend is a huge low for a movie of this epic. Of course, besides the Ezra Miller stuff, which I think is a big part of it, the reason part of Scott and I have not seen it. The other part is they did the same marketing with this they've done with all the other movies, except for the first Wonder Woman, is they told you the whole story ahead of time. Everybody knew what was going to be in it. And those I know that went and saw it, they were going for one reason only, Michael Keaton.
Yeah. And the other issue is, this is where you got to be careful judging things from opening weekend, is who goes to opening night or opening weekend. It's the hardcore fan who is they have a built-in bias. For myself, when I go see a Star Wars movie, I want to love it.
Yeah.
So when I don't love it, means it's bad. But I have a large margin of error for me to still love it. And that's who you get on opening weekend.
Yeah.
And so when you see those initial posts Friday and Saturday, it's, oh yeah, the best movie ever, best superhero movie ever. These guys it's the fandom living off of the adrenaline. They got their rush from seeing it. Yeah. And I do it too. I know exactly how it is. And you get out. But then the question is, come Sunday, by late Saturday, early Sunday, you're starting to see unbiased opinions pop up. And it's, oh, wow, the CGI is really bad. And, oh, that baby scene in Flash was like not meant to be funny, but everyone was laughing because it looked so stupid. I guess there's some scene where like this baby hospital blows up and all these babies get thrown in the air and they're flying through the air. and I guess it was causing people to like crack up in the theater, because it just looks so ridiculous. And so when you start hearing the more the unbiased opinions start coming out, the more people are like, oh, maybe I'll just pass. Maybe I'll wait. And they're already advertising when it's coming out on Blu-ray. So that's to be advertising that it is coming out. It's coming out in 3 months, I think. But it's the fact that they're already promoting that it's coming out.
Yeah. That
tells me something.
It means it'll be on HBO Max. Well, that's 45 days from release date. So it will be by August 1st.
Yeah.
It'll be on that. So yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Now, to be fair, there's a couple other factors involved to be fair to Flash. I think first, the other thing is, like Brett said, there's other issues. But from a purely objective standpoint, they've announced this timeline is dead.
Yeah.
So, okay, if I'm a mediocre fan or a casual fan, do I really want to spend $15 to go see a movie that has no point?
Right.
So there's that. That's going to suck away a certain percentage of viewers. And then I think we do have a real issue. And this is for all movies, and they're supply and demand. I think the days of the $20 million Hollywood star is dead. Mm-hmm. We're still there. There are still stars getting it, but I think we're going to see a rapid decline because at the end of the day, why go to a movie? Back in our day, what was our outlets of entertainment? It was limited. So we wanted to make time for the movies. This younger generation, they'd rather be on their phone for 6 hours on TikTok. So what's going to drive them to a theater and pay for a movie? They really are fine. They don't care if it's an 80-foot screen. They're fine with a 6-inch screen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So as that demand gets stripped away, as people are more and more willing to watch entertainers on their phone, the box office is going to hurt more and more and more.
Well, yeah. And that's the whole thing. I mean, look at what is in the last 5 years become the stars. It started 20 years ago with reality TV. When you had like a Paris Hilton, Kardashians who are still around. Now it's, I see these people pop up and, oh, so-and-so is this new star. and you go, who is that? And you look up, it's like, oh, they're a TikToker or a YouTuber that you never heard of. And what do? Well, they don't really do anything other than
right.
little
But
videos.
they have 10 million followers, and people are watching tons of their stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's a real element to the future of the box office. And the reality is, it's been happening for a long time. It's just been hidden because everyone focuses on total sales, not total ticket sales. And you look at the historical record of the top selling movies by ticket sale, it's still Gone with the Wind, Star Wars, A New Hope, these older movies.
Yeah.
But now ticket prices are $15 for a ticket. Well, yeah, when tickets were 50 cents, you had to sell 30 tickets to equal one ticket today. So that's why they keep looking at it in gross dollars.
Yeah. Well, and that's the whole thing is the dollar amounts don't really add up to ticket sales. And that's the only thing I've always wanted to look at is, okay, how many tickets do they sell versus, like I said, like a Gone with the Wind, Wizard of Oz, Star Wars, New Hope, things like that. And that's where the tales. But of course, as we've gotten away from in the last, really, it's got, the blue or VHS to DVD era started it heavily. More and more just staying home watching stuff, waiting for it to come to home. Now with streaming, the way it's been for the last just 3 to 4 years, hey, I could wait 45 days. I don't care to go sit in the theater and see. I've had to do that, not because I didn't want to see a movie in the theater. It's just time more than anything. But it's like, oh, I can watch it now on here. It's like when I wanted to see that Renfield I mentioned, I saw the other week on, was a Peacock has it, I believe. And I was like, oh, well, it popped up here. Great. I don't have to go to the theater and see it now. I can just stream it now.
Right.
And
the motivation for setting aside the time is less.
What changed also in my thing too was it used to be if I didn't go see a movie in the theater and I really wanted to see it, if it came out on DVD/Blu-ray, I would just go buy it because I was going to spend that $20 at the theater anyways. I might as well just buy it and watch it that way. And if I only watch it once, it's just like going to the theater and watch it. I spent the same money. I now have a physical copy if I ever want to rewatch it, but if I go to the theater and don't like the movie, I don't buy it down the road. But that was always my trade-off on that. It's probably I have so many Blu-rays and DVDs, and some I'll probably never watch again. But it's like, was the movie good? Yeah, it was rewatchable sometimes. It just depends if you really want to see it again. But it's like I wanted to see it, and I didn't want to wait until at the time it used to be like 1 to 2 years after it was in the theater it would hit streaming or whatever. I didn't want to wait that long, or the cable networks. I had to wait a year or so for cable to have it. Yeah. So it would come out, I would buy them. So that's been all the changes on everybody's lifestyle. But yeah, now it's like, I heard a joke guy talking on the shows I listen to, and it's an older bit they replay as a in between stuff. And the guy's like, hey, he goes, that movie Gigli, which that came out 20 years ago. He goes, I went to the movies to see Gigli, and I left halfway through it, got home, and it was on cable. It's kind of how it is now.
Yeah. So a movie really has
to predicting,
Right. And so with that in mind, if a movie is just so to the mind of a individual viewer, that viewer will say, well, I'll just wait till it's on streaming and I can watch it at my convenience. Yep. So the motivation's gone. Just like volume too, Star Wars. I mean, how long did we have to wait between Return of the Jedi and A Phantom Menace? We had to wait like
16 years.
Yeah. So that pent up demand built. And when it hit, bam, everybody went out. Yeah. Whereas now, even though we all love Star Wars so much, there's a lot of content that hunger is being satisfied with things like Kenobi and different things. So when the next Star Wars comes out, it's not as big of a demand.
And there's all the talk of different stuff between like there's mainly they say like superhero fatigue. We hear that a lot. Star Wars. Mm-hmm. It really isn't fatigue. It's just with them throwing out sometimes too much content, they're lacking in the story. Mm-hmm. And it's not just in the genres or those franchises we like. It's just kind of all over. It's like we have to get something out quick, so they rush something out there. And then you get some that are good. You get like I picked up Super Mario Brothers. I saw it in the theater, liked it, wanted to own it, and I thought it was a fun story. Yeah. And it needs to go there. And then the other one I bought, this is probably my third copy, but it had a bunch of new stuff. One of my favorite movies of all time is Last Starfighter.
That's a good one.
And what I loved was, you can't really see because it's all small, but had a ton of, this is all right here, all the added stuff they did for added content. I didn't buy it for the movie, and even though it's in 4K and it looks good, I bought it for the extra content that I didn't have it any other way because I still like the extra content in Blu-rays and DVDs.
And they're always rumors are always popping up that they're gonna do a sequel. The original cast, I believe, is all in.
At one time they were. I don't think they are anymore because it's been several years. I'd love to see them reboot it. I think now we're at a point. I mean,
a reboot would work.
Lance Guest could do it. So like, Lance and then Mary McCormick. What's her? I got another one of her movies.
A reboot doing that as a series would work.
Catherine Mary Stewart. She was the girlfriend. Yeah. She was also in Night of the Comet. If you haven't seen that one, that's another great 80s movie. And they had talked about coming back, and the premise, my understanding when I read stuff a few years ago before COVID was, years later, it's like he's been rebuilding the Star League. Well, then I read something recently where they're talking about, if we do that, we might come back and he's on Earth, but he's basically almost like living back in that trailer park, but he's older now. And I'm like, that doesn't work. We don't want to reboot that way. If you're going to do that, just reimagine it a different way and start off and get them in space and go from there. Because I like the basic premise of what was out there. You had the bad guy set up, the Kodan Armada. Zor got away. They had set that up so they could hunt that down. But of course, the movie did, I think, just okay at the box office. It never was a big hit. It was a bigger hit on VHS and like cable back in the 80s.
Well, and that's why it might be a perfect reboot. Like they could even redesign stuff, keep the original the designs of the ships and stuff, but modernize them a little bit so they look a little more today. And I think it would work. I could totally see it as a 3-season series, because there is a lot of content in that one movie.
Yes.
So
there's a lot they cover in the short time that they set up. Of course, it was that was the last movie that Robert Preston did. He played what's his name? The main guy that gets him,
the recruiter.
Yep. And so he's long past. He passed away around the time the movie came out, but I think it's something they could definitely set up. I mean, especially in today's age of video games on the phone, stuff like that. He sent out an app instead of like a game console, and here's this kid, or whatever teenager on his phone. And he's the only one to ever get to this level or whatever. Yeah. So the difference that is what really was great about that one is it showed this little community of people living in a trailer park in the middle of nowhere desert, like Arizona, New Mexico, or wherever it was. And they all supported each other in a way, as family. And that's something that I think helped with the characters themselves.
Yeah.
And of course, Lewis with his stack of Playboys at the age of 12, So good movie in it. So, and you watched something else again the other day. You were so excited.
Got caught up. So, I was just, this was on Father's Day in the evening. I just wanted to watch something and just enjoy myself. And so I put on Solo, the Star Wars story there. And, this movie is better every time I see it. I enjoyed it when it first came out. I wasn't crazy about the casting for Han Solo, but I will say, I think over the couple of years here of rewatching it, I've grown to like him.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford did such an iconic version, and I think I would have accepted him more right from the start had I not known Anthony Ingruber, who is the perfect casting for a young Harrison Ford. He was in the running, and these yahoos they hired who were just trying to screw the movie over, who they ended up firing, they're the ones who picked this. So had they done serious casting from the start, I don't think he would have got the role, but I've come to accept it. Donald Glover.
Yep.
Yeah. Danny Glover was in my head. I'm like, wait, that's not right. So Donald Glover is Lando. He does a phenomenal job. I really hope we get that Lando series that has been teased. It'd be a great way to bring, and I always forget his name, Alden, whatever, as Han Solo back in. And the guy who plays Chewbacca does a phenomenal job. He has all the body movements perfect. So anyways, absolutely love the movie. Such a fun ride. And it's better every time. It's like a wine. It gets better with age.
Yeah. It was Alden Ehrenreich played Han Solo. Emilia Clarke was Kira, Yep. They killed off Woody Harrelson's character. He was great.
That was great. The whole cast. Jon Favreau was
Rio.
Rio.
Yeah.
Yep, and all them. But it ended on such a note. They really have a lot of meat left to the story with the Crimson Dawn. I really think this was intended originally as a Crimson Dawn trilogy. My belief was the intention was the end of this. He's heading to Tatooine to join Jabba's group. I really think the original plan, because if you looked at what was on the slate at the time, I think Solo was the first movie of the Crimson Dawn trilogy.
Yeah.
Then he goes to Tatooine. Then I think it was going to be the Boba Fett movie, where you see Han Solo in it with Jabba the Hutt and that gang, but it's more Crimson Dawn. And then I think the finale was going to be the Kenobi movie. I really think that was going to be the Crimson Dawn trilogy disguised as these three movies, but these characters would carry through. But and it would also explain why in A New Hope Kenobi knew Chewbacca.
Yeah.
If they met in that movie, it would explain why in A New Hope he went to Chewbacca to talk to him in the cantina. Now, it could have been just random, but this could explain why he picked him. But good stuff. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. It's just classic Star Wars. Kasdan wrote it, and you can tell,
Yeah. Well, and a couple of things. When you put in like Alden's name real quick, and there's two things pop up. One's Giant Freaking Robot, and the other one's SFX Gazette, which quotes Giant Freaking Robot. Talking about that it's Filoni's upcoming movie he gets to do. They're saying it's going to have him come back as Solo, so it would take place during that time period.
Mm-hmm.
They would recast Leia and bring her into it, whatever, if they're going to go a little older. Or have him come back and to be just after Jedi or whatever, if they're going to take it that route, which I don't think they're going to do, but we'll see.
I think Filoni's going to want to really finish the Crimson Dawn arc. That's my gut. My gut tells me he wants that story told.
I would hope that, because the article mentions the Heir to the Empire stuff, which is what they've been setting up a little bit in for Ahsoka, is pulling some of that elements out. And
as we know,
if he did do an Heir of the Empire after Ahsoka as a movie, something or in that using that information, I mean, there's a lot of stuff they could use, but yeah.
And as we know, whenever they work on multiple Star Wars projects, it's never in the same timeline.
Yeah.
The burden and curse of being a Star Wars fan is always having to have the timeline in your head. So whatever project comes out, you know where to put it in the timeline.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, where are we?
Well, yeah, now we're all over the place. We're in the basically Mandoverse with Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and now Ahsoka,
which is post Return of the Jedi.
Post Return of the Jedi, pre episode
sequels.
7, the sequels. And then Kenobi was in the middle, so that was kind of the Clone Wars, post Clone Wars, post Sith era, which is where Solo was, pre Rogue One, stuff like that. So all crazy.
Yep.
But something we do know the timeline now, because they are actually dealing with it in the correct way, is Star Trek: Strange New Worlds.
Oh yeah, episode 1 just came out. They're dropping that weekly on Thursdays. Did you tell me?
Thursdays, yep. So we have a second episode for season 2 tomorrow.
This is on Paramount Plus for those of you who don't know.
Yep. So definitely check that out. I do know if you have Amazon Prime, the first season, I think, is available on Prime until the end of this month. And then it goes away, and it's just a Paramount exclusive.
And if you want the unofficial first season, go to season 2 of Discovery.
Well, yeah, that was the preseason stuff. That really set up, because that was a better season, because it brought in Pike and Spock, and they set all that up and set up this much better Star Trek series than Discovery's ever been. Because it is Star Trek. It actually deals in those elements. And while we have some familiar characters we saw in the original trilogy, original series, original movies, and that stuff, it is its own thing, and they're able to continue on and deal with this stuff. And I have hinted at where this will end, as it did, as we saw that in the original Star Trek series, what happened to Pike, but they've not set a timeline for this. They kind of hinted at in the first season, but we still got however long they're going to have this thing run. I think that's how it'll end, is them going through that the bit that was the menagerie, I think it was.
Yeah. So for those of you who are confused as to why there's a show with this Captain Pike and Spock, this goes back to the original pilot for Star Trek. Yeah. Captain Kirk wasn't the captain; it was Captain Pike, and Spock was on board with that. So they're covering that era pre-Kirk, but we do see Kirk in his early career pop up in the series.
Yeah, he was already in one time last year, 1 or 2 episodes, and then
They're teasing him
all that.
this year.
Yeah. So it's stuff that eventually, they're setting up to not necessarily hand it off to him, but set up the fact that how they're tying it all in and giving it the time to tell these stories. And we get to see some characters, like Nurse Chapel. She was a mainstay on the original. We see her as a different version of her here, which I think is a much better version. They've given her more action, more stuff to do. We have a different doctor. It's not Bones McCoy. We don't have the engineer, chief engineer, Scotty. In fact, they're looking for an engineer in this first episode here. And we have an introduction of a brand new character with a new alien that they've never explored before.
Isn't that supposed to be the same race that Whoopi Goldberg's character is? Guinan? Isn't that the same kind of alien?
I'm not sure. I was reading up on a couple of things and nothing tied into that.
Let's see.
Let me see here. Let me find the information on that real quick. Let's see.
So what race is she? Guinan is a bartender, but what is she?
Yeah, Pelia is a lanthanite.
Is that the Carol Kane character?
That's the Carol Kane. Yep.
Okay. Al Orion. So yeah, different species.
I didn't think it was. This is a new species that was on Earth, and we find out that their race had been on Earth, and we're not found out until the 22nd century, but they live a long time. So
that's why I thought it was the Guinan species, because they also, like we see in Picard when they go back in time, she's kind of hidden as a bartender living amongst humans, and so that's why I thought it was the same. I didn't know the species name though, so definitely different.
Yeah, it definitely is, and interesting because it'll be interesting to see how this plays out this season with this character.
She's really different as a Star Wars character.
Yeah.
She's a little troublemaker.
Yeah. So yeah, the Guinan character is definitely several hundred years old.
Yeah.
So let's see here. See if there's anything on that. Yeah, I don't really see much of her back either. So, but yeah, the other one is definitely as a Lathanite. I was like, okay, so this is gonna be an interesting creature. And it plays to her kind of natural accent and everything else, like she's always had her, and she's using a little bit of her voice that she used during Taxi when she was played to play like the foreign woman to what's his name, the comedian that was on that Thank You Very Much guy. Latka, yes. So she's kind of using that, yeah.
Isn't she married to Billy Crystal or something?
No.
Was she with Billy Crystal in Princess Bride?
Yeah, she was. Yeah,
was that her?
She goes, "I'm not a witch. I'm your wife."
Yeah.
No, Carol Kane's done a ton of stuff. Let me see here. Don't see her married to anybody right now. So.
Let's see, husband. She's 68.
She's 71, according to this.
This is an older article then.
Yeah, she's 71 according to Wikipedia.
Yeah,
she's born in 1952.
Yep, 71.
And she did Wicked on Broadway for a while too. And
she's not presently married, but she has been married 4 times.
Okay, so people just don't have that on there. So
yeah,
her parents are Michael Caine and Joy Caine from Cleveland, Ohio. So it's not Michael Caine from Britain.
that was pretty good.
But you know how you say Michael Caine in the British version, right? It's my cocaine, my cocaine,
my cocaine. You're right.
That's how you say his name, probably. Yes, I'm my cocaine. I like.
And now you two can speak with a British accent.
Yeah. So she's got. Let's see here. There's an article about her accent, and why she's never seen in Star Trek, and I think it's cool. I like her and all this stuff. I mean, she's done a bunch of stuff over the years, and she was known for Taxi, the Muppet movie, Princess Bride, Scrooged. She was good in that.
Oh
She played
yeah,
one of the ghosts. She's done a ton of different TV shows where she pops in and out here and there. Um, and then let's see here. It's talking about her accent, but it really doesn't give much of it here. So I hate when they articles that do that, but I liked her a lot in this, and I'm looking forward to seeing her. She's now going to be the hopefully be the engineering officer for the year. So I think the engineer, their engineer is going to be like the drummer in Spinal Tap. They're gonna have to replace him all the time.
Yeah, last season it was the that blind alien played by a blind actor.
Yeah.
Hemmel, I think it was.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that character a lot. I liked him. So they really developed him well. This character, Carol Kane, she's kind of the anti-Spock. She's like the everything reverse of Spock as far as how she acts and behaves and stuff. So.
Well, I think she's going to be able to bring out, she sees things in people. Plus, she's been teaching at Starfleet for a very long time, as she put it. At that point, she's probably been teaching over 100 years or whatever, because if she is several hundred years old, then. So I think it's going to be interesting how they manipulate that.
Yeah, and they reveal she knows Spock's mom.
Yes.
So I think we're going to get a lot of backstory on Spock through his mother's side this season that we don't usually. We know the dad side.
Yeah. So we'll see more of the human side, which we're starting to see with this first episode. His human side's coming out a lot more, which is something they've dealt with over the years and all the different iterations of Star Trek. So
right.
But yeah, look forward to that. And then the episode ends with who the current big bad is going to be for this season. It's not going to be the Klingons you see. It's going to be the Gorn. And I'm really excited about this because they did a little bit of Gorn last season. The Gorn had been a race that they barely touched on in Star Trek lore. They did the episode in the original series, but now we'll see them actually get a little more into the Gorn. We learn more about who they are, where they're from, and their different tactics and stuff like that in space. And probably we'll see how they end up battling the Gorn, and the Gorn end up having their section of space that nobody goes to.
For those who don't know who the Gorn are, here's the classic fight that Kirk had in the desert.
Yeah.
I think they will upgrade the prosthetics, but yes, it really truly was a very classic fight from back then. I'm trying to see if we can see Kirk fighting him. There we go.
Yeah. Well, we saw in the last season that Gorn there had a completely different look. So it was I'm trying to see if I can find a good image here. Yeah, they were kind of like almost creatures more than actual humanoids. At least what we saw anyways. And that was just the first introduction to a Gorn-ish creature. So it'll be interesting to see again what they do this year with that. But yeah, the Gorn have always been an alien race that a lot of Star Trek fans have wanted to see more of. They just haven't done anything with. So
yeah, this was them in Strange New Worlds. So I think we saw like the baby version before they grow full bodies and arms and legs.
Yes.
Oh wait, is that one? Is that from Strange New Worlds?
No, that looks like it's.
But that's Strange New Worlds there.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, it was like they just come out and they hadn't fully developed yet. But they developed fast.
So here you can kind of see where they will take the progression. The snout will probably grow a little bit longer, but you can see the basic template.
Yeah.
Of what they do. You can see the guy's eyes down.
Yeah. Hey, he had to be able to see somehow. Yeah.
That was pre 80-inch TVs. Oh, look, behind the scenes. He's like a puppet.
Yep.
So fun stuff.
Yeah. So I'm excited for the season. That's going to be great. And real quick, we're not going to touch too much, but Secret Wars started today.
Yes. Yeah. And we'll just do non-spoiler. No spoilers.
Yeah. So
I think today's episode, I think they should have released like 2 episodes only because there was so much setup in this episode. I really enjoyed it and I look forward to seeing where this goes. Although I feel like a lot of Marvel's goodwill capital has been spent with the way these last 2 phases have gone. and I wonder how many people will stick with it week to week.
Yeah, and I said Secret Wars is actually Secret Invasion.
Oh, that's right, Secret Invasion.
Secret Wars is down the road, so this is bringing back, the Sam Jackson's
Skrulls.
back. Got Skrulls. They're dealing with all that, and we're learning
Director
that.
Krennic is in it.
Yep, he's in everything Marvel, everything in Disney now. So,
yep.
But yeah, we got it's first episode. It's 54 minutes. No post credit stuff. Main people for this episode: Sam Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn, Kobe Smulders, Amelia Clark's in it, Olivia Colman, Kingsley Ben-Adir, and it's setting up. It's a 6-episode run.
Yeah.
So it's going to go pretty quick, but I think that's part of the reason they didn't drop 2 is a knock out a week. But they should have maybe extended it out a little bit. But again, costs and everything else is sort of things they had in the works, and they're actually reevaluating a lot of this stuff now. Mm-hmm. I did read yesterday that Marvel will not be at San Diego Comic-Con, but so will several other movie studios because of the ongoing Writers Guild strike. But it's also the strike has set, and if the SAG goes on strike, which is the Screen Actors Guild, everything I'm reading on like the different things through Variety and stuff like that is they're going to be reevaluating this stuff anyways because of how things have not performed the way they wanted them to. Plus, you've got the Kane character, the actor is actually still in legal trouble. And I think they're going to be reevaluating all that around too and restarting some things up when they do come back, have to get back into that. Even we're going to shoot Deadpool and they're not actually put that on hold right now because they can't do any changes to scripts. That includes ad-libbing, while they're filming because that would go against the Writers Guild and the actors won't go against it either. So,
yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see where things go. Very loose premise of Secret Wars is we have the Skrulls who were introduced through the Captain Marvel movie. They can shapeshift. They're infiltrating the world governments, and there's 2 divisions. It sounds like one that's like pro-human, one that's anti-human or whatever.
Well, there's one that was Peter said, "Hey, we'll find you guys a new world," and they're supposed to be doing that. And there's no just screw it. We found our world, and they want to take over Earth.
Right. And then the Sam Jackson character, he's been off-world during this time since the blip occurred. He comes back, and he kind of has lost his edge a little while he's been up in space vacationing for 6 years or whatever time it is. Yeah. So it's kind of him too. So it's an older Nick Fury, and does he still have what it takes? We'll find out.
So, but yeah, so that's on weekly too, 6 episodes. So we'll be talking a little bit more about that next week. We'll get a little more into the episode, and we'll give some spoilers then on the first episode, but not that current week. So you guys have a chance to watch it. But anything else today, Scott? I think we've covered everything.
Is Indiana Jones this week?
That launches next week. Comes out next week. Okay. Thursday. I probably not sure when I'll see it, but I'll be seeing it sometime probably. Yeah. Because I got to go down to town starting on the 2nd of July, so I'm working a lot next week. Working that Thursday, so I was just like, not gonna be able to make it then. Working all weekend before I head out. So, being
the end of June now, I just feel like don't we typically have a lot more summer movie hits already by now?
We're still behind. I mean, it's.
I guess so.
I think it's going to be something that is. They have to get there. It's just things got pushed back. The biggest thing I'm seeing advertised right now is Indiana Jones and now that stupid looking Barbie movie.
Oh, that's right.
And then I saw something on Kraven the Hunter. That looks
horrible. Yeah, they released a trailer for that.
Oh, that looks bad.
Well, and it's Sony. Sony needs to stop trying and just allow Marvel to just stick with what Marvel's doing. Every time they do, just like Morbius, it was okay, but it wasn't that good, and the CGI wasn't that good. It felt very cartoony. Let Marvel do it. I did read, maybe if this is fact or not. I read the rights for Hulk are now fully Marvel. Is that true?
I thought I read something a while back on that. Yeah,
it was an older article. I just read it the other day here. Marvel rights Hulk. Let's see. I remember reading before that it was coming up, but I think it's official now. Let's see. 6 days ago. Yep. The rights are fully back to Marvel from Universal. This is from 6 days ago.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's just fully official now. So what does that mean for fans? It means they could do a solo Hulk movie now if they want. They can use Hulk however they want. They don't have to worry about Universal having any part.
Well, there's been rumors that the character that Harrison Ford is going to play in the Marvel Universe will eventually become Red Hulk.
Red Hulk. Yep.
Yep.
And when they asked Harrison Ford about that, he said, "What's a Red Hulk?" So either he truly has no clue what's going on, or he's really good at keeping secrets and he's pretending like
he's to the point of Harrison Ford. I love him as an actor. I'm sure if you knew him as a personal friend, you think he's great. But when it comes to the fandom stuff, he just literally goes, "I just don't care."
Yeah, he doesn't. I don't care my character's backstory. I don't care where it's going. Just give me the script. I'll act it out. Then I'm going back to where's he live in Montana or something?
Probably
I'll fly away in my helicopter to Montana and farm.
His plane. He's got his old planes. I don't think
Go
he
to my
flies
ranch
anymore. So, and then he goes to Subway and orders. I'll take a ham and cheese. Or pickles. Black olives. But yeah, so it's he's fine. I think it's he's doing stuff. He's like 80, 81, whatever now. Yeah. So everything he's doing now is kind of like, I just do what I want because they write me a big check.
Yeah.
So I'll go see the new Indiana Jones. I'm hoping it's at least good. Nothing will ever hold up to the first three.
I hope it's better than the early reviews I've read.
Well, I think it's just going to be okay in the long run because it's just tough to do a good Indiana Jones movie these days because they want to be too PC on some things and things also as Harrison Ford is older, so he's just not there as fully action. But I hoping it's a good ending to the character, So
I hope so.
So we'll see. Hey, join us next week. We'll talk more stuff. We'll have some fun. I don't know. We'll see you then. Bye.
See you then. Bye.